The Dershow.
As you know, I predicted exactly how the Supreme Court would decide the immunity case. I predicted the vote 6-3. I predicted that it would be along party lines. I predicted that they would split the difference and that neither side would get a total victory, that both sides were asking for too much. Trump's side was asking for immunity, although during oral argument they seemed to concede they couldn't get it for personally private, completely private acts. And the other side was seeking no immunity at all. And it was clear to me and to others who know the Supreme Court. I clerked on it, although it was some time ago. I still follow the Supreme Court very closely. It was clear to me that neither side would have a complete a victory, and neither side did. So the attacks on the Supreme Court for rendering this decision have been unbelievable. AOC, who doesn't know anything about law or constitutional law or government or anything else, called for the impeachment of the justices of the Supreme Court. Only the justices voted against her. Her view, she forgot to read the Constitution that requires for the impeachment of a judge or anybody else, treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. How you can describe the decision of the Supreme Court as fitting any of those categories, only AOC could tell you that. She's probably not even read the decision. All she knows is it might help Trump. And if it's going to help Trump, she's against it. I don't expect much of her. But I do expect a little bit more of Richard Blumenthal, the senator from Connecticut. He used to be the U.S. attorney in Connecticut. He attacked the Supreme Court decision viciously and called the justices hacks. The reason I mentioned that is I had mentioned previously the Bar Association of Connecticut, which is a very liberal, left-leaning bar. The Bar Association of Connecticut wrote a letter to all of its lawyers, including Blumenthal, who's a lawyer in Connecticut, saying they should not attack judges. They have to defend the judiciary. They were talking, of course, completely about Judge Marchant in the New York case. So the Connecticut bar is basically saying, don't attack judges if they're anti-Trump judges, but if you think they're pro-Trump judges, you can attack them. It'd be interesting to see whether the bar goes after Richard Blumenthal. By the letter that they wrote, they have to. He violated the entire thrust of everything that they wrote in the letter, calling justices of the Supreme Court hacks because you disagree with the decision. I think most constitutional scholars would tell you, of course, there has to be some immunity. By the way, Richard Blumenthal has immunity. AOC has immunity. Judges have immunity. The idea that a president wouldn't have immunity for acts done within the authority of the presidency. Take, for example, the decision of a president to engage in targeted assassination against Soleimani or other, terrorists. Do you think a president should be able to be tried for murder for ordering the assassination? Well, what about if he orders the army to invade a certain place and people are killed? Obviously, you have to have immunity. And then, of course, Jack Smith said, well, maybe he has immunity for when he's president. But as soon as he leaves the presidency, that immunity disappears. What good is immunity if it disappears when you leave the presidency? The purpose of immunity is to free presidents to take actions without worrying that they will be criminally prosecuted. No president is going to take actions if he believes that he can be criminally prosecuted, not while he's president, but as soon as he leaves office. So that was always an absurd argument, never had any traction. And indeed, I think it was a frivolous argument, and the Supreme Court rejected it.